This is one of those stories which could come from the pages of a thriller or a feature film, but it's playing out tonight for real here in Kabul. American forces on a huge manhunt searching for these two men. It seems that they went out on some kind of lone, unplanned mission into known Taliban-held territory, we understand yesterday evening, and there are unconfirmed reports that one of them has already been killed by the Taliban, but both of them certainly missing in this huge manhunt going on. There's a reward been offered on local radio stations for the return of these two men, describing them as wearing American military uniform and their hair colour and eye colour and so on.
David Loyne, thanks very much. BP has announced it's to start deep water drilling off the coast of Libya within weeks. Meanwhile, the political fallout continues over the controversial release of the Lockerbie bomber Abdul Basit al-Megrahi over claims that BP influenced the move. The Scottish Justice Secretary, Kenny McGaskill, has again refused to attend a US Senate hearing, saying his decision had nothing to do with BP.
Well, we're making clear all the information that we have. We're trying to cooperate with the US Senate Relations Committee by providing the appropriate information. That's the appropriate level of relationships between governments at this nature. This is a different jurisdiction and they have to respect that.
Now, the former Trade Minister, Lord Digby Jones, has called on universities to consider offering more vocational qualifications better suited to the jobs market. But his argument has been dismissed by the university's minister, who said the key thing was to provide students with information about their options. Here's Joe Lynham.
Get a degree, get a life. For decades, we've been told that any university qualification would lead to a better career. But the picture is not always clear-cut. Not according to Sean Brown. He left school and with the aid of a grant opened his own cleaning business, which has more than paid dividends.
I think a lot of people think that having a degree is a golden ticket. It doesn't guarantee success. I think you've got to have a lot of ambition and a lot of drive. I think that a degree is always going to be a good thing to have, but I would say don't be complacent with it.
And the former minister and CBI boss Lord Jones thinks that having a degree is not the be-all and end-all for a successful career.
What the world of work needs out of universities has changed, and a lot of them should look again and say, could I link in more early with people? Could I link in with schools better? Could I get local businesses in better? And then can I produce something where someone is better skilled to face the challenges of today, which might not necessarily end with the word degree?
Lord Jones may suggest that school leavers consider vocational as well as academic qualifications when thinking about their careers. But statistics show that if you've got a degree, you're far more likely to earn more money, depending, of course, on what type of degree. An economics graduate should expect to earn 70% more than someone with 2 A-levels, whereas an arts graduate shouldn't expect to earn much more at all. So now the government says that universities should do more to tell would-be students exactly what kind of career should be expected from each degree type.
They should know what your chances are of getting a job after you've gone to a specific course at a specific university. And that's what the coalition government is working at, so that we can trust young people can be trusted with that kind of information.
With a major government austerity programme on its way, plenty of young people may not want to risk skipping university. But 150,000 of them will try and fail to get a place this year. The advice from Lord Jones: not all education has to end in a thing called a degree. Joe Lynham, BBC News.
Now, in his first interview since leaving office, Gordon Brown has told the BBC that he knew it was the end of an era when he walked away from Number 10. He's attending an African Union summit in Uganda, where he's calling for more investment in the continent. Well, our political correspondent Laura Koonsberg is here with us now. And Laura, Gordon Brown reflecting on that election defeat, but also spelling out for the first time from him what he plans to do.
That's right, Matthew. This is the first glimpse we've had from the former Prime Minister of how he felt about his exit from Downing Street and of what lies ahead for him in the years to come. And he suggested that, contrary to what you might expect, he wasn't bruised by the events that drove him out of office. He says, in fact, he's very relaxed, he's very cheerful, and that he's been able to accept his defeat. He scotched some rumours about him potentially withdrawing from politics, saying He enjoys his constituency work in Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath and Fife in Scotland, and he's going to stay on as a constituency MP. But he suggests he won't be coming back to take a high-profile role in Westminster politics, but instead concentrating on trying to drive forward efforts to do with international development, like at this conference. He also makes an intriguing remark about how he and other world leaders dealt with the world economy, saying things didn't move on and didn't really change that much after April 2009.
Thanks very much. Now, time to take a look at all the day's sports news with Celina Hinchcliffe. Celina.
Thank you, Matthew. Hello there. Sebastian Vettel will start tomorrow's German Grand Prix on pole position after delivering a stunning lap in front of his home crowd at Hockenheim. He finished ahead of the two Ferraris of Fernando Alonso and Felipe Massa in qualifying. Joe Wilson watched the action.
Drivers' Championship in third.
At Hockenheim, they expect a German driver to deliver, but qualifying threw out a different message. Don't forget about Ferrari.
Qualifying hour. Fernando Alonso across the rumble strip there. And quick look at that. Whoa.
Quite. Fernando Alonso leading the way for Ferrari for a while. Red Bull have lightning-quick cars, but seem like a team divided. Sebastian Vettel going his way, whilst Mark Webber has his half of the garage. Well, it was Vettel who performed today. Bitterness over favouritism in the team soured Webber's victory in the last Grand Prix at Silverstone. No complaints from him today, as in the dying seconds of the final qualifying session, Vettel snatched pole position away from Alonso.
Vettel, what a lap! Could anyone else challenge?
No, Vettel will be first on the grid at his home Grand Prix. The British battle was almost a sideshow, but Jenson Button unusually qualified quicker than his McLaren teammate Lewis Hamilton. They'll be 5th and 6th on the grid, wondering if they can possibly compete with the car on pole.
We just don't have the pace of the Rebels, which is quite worrying, really. For me, it was a good lap, and I don't really think there was anything else that I could have got out of the car. So 7 tenths behind. Still a bit disappointing.
Well, Vettel celebrated his performance in qualifying almost as if he'd won the race, and his friends on the team radio could barely contain themselves.
And you did it! You did it, mate! Alonso didn't do it. Good man!
Yes, baby! Woohoo! Yes!
Number one at the moment, the race is tomorrow. And Red Bull have been fantastic in qualifying all season. That alone doesn't win you any points. Joe Wilson, BBC News.
Pakistan's cricketers beat Australia by 3 wickets at Headingley in the second and final test to draw the series 1-1. It's the first time Pakistan have beaten the Aussies in a test for 15 years. But it was a nervy victory as they lost 4 wickets, chasing the 40 runs they needed to win. The Pakistan-England test series begins on Thursday at Trent Bridge. Alberto Contador has retained the yellow jersey with a day to go in the Tour de France. Contador, the defending champion, is now virtually assured of winning the Tour because tomorrow's stage is almost a procession through the streets of Paris. The Spanish rider is 39 seconds ahead of Andy Schleck of Luxembourg. Harbinger, ridden by Olivier Pellier, has won the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes at Ascot in a new course record. Harbinger, trained by Sir Michael Stout, was a 4-1 shot. He won a thrilling race by 11 lengths from Capoblanco and Yunzain. Hot favourite Workforce was way down the field. And that's all the sport, Matthew.
Celina, thanks very much. Well, that's it for now. There'll be more from the newsroom at 10:20 this evening on BBC One. Now, though, it's time to join our news teams where you are. Bye-bye for now.